Hey everybody, this is episode 3 of Mom Interrupted. I have my at-home Starbucks pink drink because I'm, still pumping and increasing my supply for baby girl. So that's what we have today. If you don't know, it's strawberry cranberry juice and coconut milk. That's it. So this episode is like a mom confessional type situation. I know my other ones have been my first two were like really upbeat. This one is going to be kind of vulnerable, um, maybe a little emotional. I'm not sure. Definitely vulnerable though. So stick with me. Be patient. Um, I have my baby here. It's just me and her. My husband took our toddler out to run some errands. So I'm going to try to get this done before they get back. And hopefully the sound is okay because I know the last one was a little low. But anyways, I'm stalling. So I also have notes. So, okay, here we go. So let's talk about it. Yesterday, I got my tubes removed. Not tied. I got them completely removed. And I want to share why I made that decision. And why, my husband and I went through with that. And I want to shout out my husband because he let me make not let me, but, he gave me the space to make the decision. Of course, him being a husband and a provider, he was very nervous about it because, it's procedure, it's surgery. But he was fully supportive, fully on board. He drove me there, was there the whole time, drove me home. It's been taking care of everything, taking care of the girls. So I'm very appreciative of that. I didn't have to fight with my person, my support system about this. He never made it a thing. He just wanted to make sure I was safe. That was um, his only concern. Um, so I just want to share why I made the decision. I know for a lot of women, pregnancy is beautiful, and I know for a lot of women, they desire to have a lot of children. When I was younger, that was my desire. I wanted to have 6 babies, like naturally have 6 babies, be pregnant 6 times. However, after actually being pregnant twice, um, I love my girls. I love being a mother. I love, being able to stay home with them, but I didn't love being pregnant. Um, I didn't love the fear and the exhaustion and the loss of control and just the overall anxiety that comes with being pregnant. I'm an overthinker, so any little thing I was like, oh my gosh, is something wrong? Is baby gonna be okay? Like the uncertainty, the unknown of pregnancy just caused so much anxiety and so much mental exhaustion for me, because every pregnancy is different. You can have one pregnancy that's fine and then the next one is not fine. Like just because you have one successful pregnancy doesn't guarantee you future successful pregnancies. And so um, the mental was just too much for me. And so for my peace of mind, I talked with my husband and I was like, I don't want to be pregnant anymore. Um, and he was like, okay, you know, plus two and through is great too. So it was also nice that we were both on the same page as far as having two. Because, like I said, our oldest is 2.5. She'll be 3 this year. And then the baby will be 1 this year. So 2 years apart, you got two girls. Like, everyone's like, oh, don't you want to try for a boy? No. If it was meant for us to have a boy, we would have had a boy. So I made that permanent choice. And I was talking to one of my friends last night. She said, well, how do you feel about that decision? And honestly, I'm relieved. Um, I don't know if this is TMI, but I'm relieved to actually be able to enjoy my husband again, without the fear of becoming pregnant, if you get what I'm saying. Um, yeah, like I want to be present, in those moments. And I was finding that I wasn't able to because I'm like, oh my gosh, what if I get pregnant, And so that wasn't enjoyable. And, that's not fair for either one of us. Like, we should be able to, we're married, we should be able to enjoy that. And I just found that I couldn't fully be present and I couldn't enjoy it because I was so afraid of becoming pregnant again. Like after our first daughter, um, I'm nursing both of them. So I didn't have a cycle. And I remember we had her in August, and by January, I was so afraid of becoming pregnant again that month alone, I took four pregnancy tests, which is one every week basically. Because I was just so afraid. I knew we wanted to have one more, but I didn't want to have the second one so close after the first. So that anxiety of becoming pregnant, especially when I didn't have a cycle, so there was no way for me to know. So I remember when I finally did get my cycle back, I was relieved at that because I'm like, well, at least I can kind of keep track of it, but still not fully being able to be present because I just didn't want to be pregnant that soon. So there was that. And then, so now that we have our two, I just told my husband, like, pregnancy is just not enjoyable for me for the mental toll it takes alone. And then the process of labor and delivery is nerve-wracking. Like with both labors, there was some form of trauma that took place. Thankfully, both of our girls are here and healthy, but it was just like with our oldest, her blood pressure was low and they weren't sure, and it was just a whole bunch of stuff. And then with our youngest, she came out with the umbilical cord around her neck and they had to resuscitate her. Like all of that, it's just, it's a lot. Like I don't think people really fully understand unless you've gone through it. I don't think people fully understand how hard and tough pregnancy, labor, and delivery is. Like, it takes such a toll on us. And then even afterwards, like, I nursed our oldest until she was 15 months. So it's like, again, I'm grateful that I'm able to nurse. I know some women aren't able to, but at the same time, that doesn't invalidate the fact that nursing takes away my ability to be in control of my body, right? Like my body is at the will of my child because I'm literally keeping her alive. So when she wants to be on me, I have to let her because she's hungry. I'm touched out, but she's hungry. Of course, that's going to take precedence over me. And so, some women choose to formula feed for that reason because it's mentally exhausting for them. Like it wasn't to that point of where I'm like, oh, I can't handle it. But if it did get to that point, I would definitely choose my mental health because you have to be a healthy mom, a healthy person to be a healthy mom, a healthy person first before you can be a healthy mom, right? So just the fact that I don't have control over my body because I'm nursing, I have to be careful about what I eat. And like I said, I have to, let them be on me when they need to because they have to eat. I'm their life force, and I'm nursing again. And hopefully I'll be able to nurse her until she's at least 15 months or, we'll see how it goes. But it's a lot. And so because of that, like like I said, I talked to my husband and I'm like, I can't do it again. And like I said, thankfully he was very supportive from the beginning. So we got that done yesterday. I was nervous because I had never had that type of surgery before. Like the only time I had been under sedation, I love when she talks. The only other time I had been under sedation is after I first was born. I had third-degree tearing, so they had to, stitch me up and they put me under for that. But other than that, I'd never had any type of surgery. So I had anxiety about it, but the alternative was worse for me. So I had to do it because, like I said, and sometimes moms have to be okay to say the hard things out loud, right? And so my hard thing out loud is, had I not done this and I would have gotten pregnant again, I know for a fact that there is a 90% chance that it would have caused major depression in me. Like major. Because that's how much I know I can't handle it. And if that's the case, then you have to do what you have to do to prevent it. And I know some people are totally against it. Like, oh, you're supposed to have as many children as, God gives you, because I am a Christian, I believe it. Me and my husband are both believers. However, God also gives us wisdom, right? And wisdom for me is, if having another child is going to cause me to be depressed, then don't have another child. And the way for me to not have another child was to get my tubes removed. Because if I had gotten them tied, there's a chance that they can retie. I heard like if my husband had gotten a vasectomy, there's a chance that that could reverse too. And so like the only way I felt like I could guarantee us not having another child and putting myself in the position to be depressed was to have my tubes removed. I didn't want to be the next Andrea Yates, period. The system failed her. Her husband failed her. Her doctor said having another child would cause her to be depressed, and her husband didn't care. He made her have more kids. And, mental health and postpartum are real, and I didn't want to be the next headline. And so that's why I made this very, very permanent decision. And I'm sharing because I know I can't be the only mom out there who's like, I don't want any more kids. Maybe you're afraid to say it. You don't feel safe to say it. That's another reason why I created this channel, is to have those hard conversations. And I'm hoping that you all share your experiences or fears or anything like that in the comments. But we have to be okay with saying the hard things out loud. And for those of us who don't have the same experience, you shouldn't mom shame those of us who don't want 10 kids. You should be empowering and encouraging us to do what's best for us. Having 10 kids, if that's your story, I applaud you. That's amazing. It's not mine. And I think I'm stronger because I know myself and I know that I needed to make that decision instead of going with the status quo of, oh, I'm a stay-at-home mom. I'm just going to have all these kids. And no. So that was the first thing that I got done. The second thing was good and bad. So I got my first cycle when I was, I think, 11. The first one was fine. The second one, all the way up until probably after I had our first daughter, terrible. Completely horrible. To the fact where I'm like nauseous, vomiting on the floor in a fetal position, just unable to do anything, unable to function, operate, because I'm just in so much pain. And for years, I tried to figure out what was going on, and I was gaslit like crazy. Like, oh, just do birth control. But then when I did birth control, and my dad, I remember this so vividly. The first time we went to figure out what was wrong was the first time they were like, oh, it's fine, just take birth control. Because I also had irregular cycles. And she was like, oh, just take birth control. And I'm in high school at the time. And so I was like, okay. And my dad took me to get my birth control. And I remember vividly, the pharmacist was so judgmental. She looked at me like I was getting birth control because I was sexually active. Like, you're a pharmacist. You should know that birth control is not just for birth control, like, because you're having sex. Like, it's has many other uses. So I took it for a while, but that lady's face and judgment just made me feel so nasty. Even though I wasn't sexually active, it just made me feel nasty. And then I kept hearing all this like, oh, birth control makes you gain weight and all that type of stuff. I'm in high school. What high school girl wants to gain weight, you know? So I probably took it for maybe a month, and I just stopped taking it. Never got it refilled, nothing. So I struggled with it for years. It interrupted my entire life to the point of where I prayed that I would get my cycle at night, because if I got it at night, then I had time to call people and say, I'm not coming. If I had class, I'm not coming. If I had work, I'm not coming. If it started during the day, I would be stuck. Like, I remember I was in college, and two different times I remember. One time I was in college and I started my cycle when I was out, and I went to Michigan State. So if anybody's familiar with Michigan State, I was in the Union, and I went up to the fourth floor because nobody went to that bathroom. It was called the Tower, I think. Went up to the fourth floor bathroom. It was a single bathroom, and I was on the floor. This public bathroom. I'm on the floor in the fetal position in pain, and I could not get up. I'm in the middle of throwing up and in pain, throwing up in pain in public. And I was there for hours before I got enough strength to get up and take the bus home. Like, it was awful. The second time I remember, I was at work. It was Christmas break, and my roommate had left to go spend time with her mom in Florida. So I was like, oh, I'm not going anywhere, so I'm going to pick up extra shifts. So I'm at work, and I got my period, and I was an assistant teacher at a preschool. So anybody who's worked in education, you know that classrooms have ratios, and especially in early childhood, ratios are real. Like, you can get in trouble if your class is out of ratio. So I went to the bathroom, and I was like, oh man, I got my cycle. Oh, hopefully it'll be great. It was not great. I had to go back to the bathroom, and again, I'm on the floor just in pain. And I was gone for so long, they didn't know where I was, because at the time I didn't know that it was going to hit me like that. So it hit me while I was in the bathroom, and I couldn't tell anybody. So they eventually figured out I was in the bathroom, and they knocked on the door like, are you okay? We're at a ratio. What's going on? And I told them, I was like, listen, I'm in pain. I can't do anything. Like, I can't do anything. So, okay. Mom interrupted again. um, so it's Christmas break, and I'm on the floor in the bathroom. Just, I can't get out there. So they had to call somebody to come and replace me. But mind you, it's Christmas break. So not only is my roommate gone, most of my friends are gone. And the buses are on a severely reduced schedule. And I was in college before Uber and Lyft. So my options of getting home were very limited. So I think I had to, I'm going through my, make sure my mic is still on. Yeah, okay. I'm going through my contacts, and I found somebody, a lady that went to my church was also a professor on campus. And luckily she lived in town. So she came and picked me up. But even for me to call her was it wasn't normal, and it was kind of uncomfortable because, the situation that I was in. But she came and got me, and she took me to get stuff I needed and dropped me off my home and checked on me and things like that. but uncomfortable. Um, One time in middle school, it was embarrassing because my mom had to come get me because I was in pain, but I also bled through my uniform. We had uniforms. I had a khaki skirt, which I never understood why they made the girls wear khaki skirts. But anyways, bled through my khaki skirt. Mom had to pick me up. Then I'm an adult and I'm at work. Like, work is different than school. So I'm in the bathroom at work and I was at a call center. And anybody who's works in a call center, you can only be in after call work for so long before you get in trouble, before, QA calls you like, hey, you're in AC work too long. AWC work too long. Like, what's going on? So I went to go I went to go talk to my manager and I was telling her the situation. And she was like, well, you just need to, wear heavier pads. And I'm like, the bleeding is not the issue. The pain is the issue. So I'm like at my desk, like, I have my trash can. I'm like throwing up in the trash can. And I'm like, girl, I gotta go. I just gotta go. So I had to drive myself home. And at this point, I'm in Atlanta. It takes me an hour to get home because of traffic. That was the longest hour of my life. Anyways, I'm rambling, but I'm saying that to say, for years I didn't know, and I finally learned what endometriosis was. I was an adult by the time I heard what it was, and I think I was watching TV or scrolling Facebook or something, and I heard the word, and I saw what the symptoms were, and I was like, is that what I have? So I went to the doctor, and they were like, well, the only way we can tell if you have it is if we do the surgery, and I just don't think you need the surgery. I just don't think you need it. So I'm like, okay, but like, can we just? They just refuse to do it. So I'm going on and on, and my adulthood is just interrupting my life, but I can't find out if I have it. So yesterday, when I was talking to my doctor, who actually is a Black woman, we need more Black doctors, because when I told her, I went to see her in January, and I told her what symptoms I had and what I have been dealing with and how I didn't want to have kids. First of all, when we were talking about the kids thing, she never said, oh, you're so young. What if you want more? Or she never said, like, what about your husband? Is he okay with it? She just said, these are your options. What do you want to do? And then when I told her about my pain from my period, she was like, oh, we can just do an endometrial ablation. Like, she just knew that it was endometriosis and that was the solution. She heard me. And for a lot of Black women, um, medical gaslighting, and I think that's how you call it, medical gaslighting, is unfortunately so common for us, and it shouldn't be. And this is why Black doctors are so necessary, because she never she never questioned me. She never made me feel bad. She just listened, and she knew what the solutions were, and she explained it to me. Um, she walked me through the process. She told me what it was going to be, and she said, all you got to do is sign this paper, and we can do it in 30 days. And we did it in 30 days. And so the good part of that is, yes, I do have endometriosis. There were 3 different spots that it was, 3 different spots around my uterus that she found it. However, because I'm only 6 months postpartum, um, they were being stubborn, and so she couldn't remove them. I think it was one that was being stubborn, but because that one was being stubborn, it's like an all or nothing thing. So she had to leave them there. So I haven't gone to talk to her. She didn't explain this to me. She explained it to my husband because I was still under sedation. But I haven't talked to her to see if like that's something we can revisit in the future or not. But just to finally know at 35, and I've been having periods since I was 11, to finally know at 35 that yes, it is endometriosis is such a relief. Would I have liked for it to have been removed yesterday? Yeah, especially because since she was already in there, it would have been nice. But if it is something that we can revisit, then we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. However, like I think since we'll see how it is after this one. But after our oldest, my periods let up. Um, and I'm hoping it's the same now because I still haven't had one yet since I'm nursing. But maybe that was God's way of saying, hey, you don't need that. I never know. You never know. But just to know, put a name to it. I'm not crazy because the way endometriosis makes you feel, or at least me, it literally made me feel like I was out of my mind. My emotions were all over the place. I'm in pain. I can't function. It literally disrupted my life. Like for an entire day, I couldn't do anything for a day. And then I would feel symptoms up to 2 weeks beforehand. So I felt like I was on my cycle 3 weeks out of 4 weeks of the month. Every month, I was physically, mentally exhausted, but nobody could tell me what was wrong, or they refused to tell me, refused to help me. So, um, yeah, let's check my notes. I think that's all I had. Um, so, so yeah, yep, it's been a lot. Um, but I feel relieved. I feel validated. I feel seen. But most of all, I feel hopeful. Moving forward, I feel excited, like I said, about being able to enjoy my husband again. Um, and so I just wanted to share this. Like, if you've ever struggled with medical gaslighting or endometriosis or the mental load of pregnancy or the anxiety of pregnancy, not enjoying being pregnant, but you may be too afraid to say it, you are not alone, sis. Like, you're not. We don't often feel safe to say it, but like I said, we as moms should be okay with saying the hard things out loud. So if you can relate, please let me know in the comments. I would love to have conversations about this with you guys. Um, I would love to hear your experiences, but yeah, I don't know how long this is because I had to break it up to get the baby, but I said I did get a little emotional, but I feel even relieved just being able to share and talk about it. Again, I'm very glad that I started this, and so yeah, I'd love to hear your comments, your experiences, um, in the comment section. And until next week, I'm doing these. I know I dropped 2 last week because I was really excited, but the regular schedule is these will drop every Tuesday. So it's Tuesday now. I'm gonna try to get into batch recording, but for now it's Tuesday. I'm gonna record and I'm gonna post it both today. So yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching episode 3. See you on the comments. Bye.